I'm ChosenArchitect, and this is All The Mons. Now today is probably going to be the biggest change to our playthrough thus far, and that's because we are going to be gaining a plethora of resources after today's episode. So many resources, in fact, that we're probably going to have a hard time keeping up with them all. But all of this is going to be in preparation for the big move, which is when we are going to build our Team Rocket facility. But before I start talking about the awesome way that we're going to generate resources, there are a few things I want to talk about, because we did get an update. I mean, just take a look at these change logs currently. Oh yes, and if you may have noticed, you can now find me in the world, in my streaming structure, and you can actually take on and find some of the secrets that lie inside of my building. But another major change is that Apotheosis got an update, and there's some awesome changes that happen to Apotheosis. One of those changes is that all of the new sounds when the bosses spawn have their own sound. No longer do you have to hear the in portal opening. Oh, and we got ourselves a gem case. Like, this is pretty cool and should hold gems for us. So now we should be able to pull all of these gems out of here. I think this will be pretty nice. We place down the gem cabinet and hook up a pipe like so. On the back here, I am going to remove the pipe from here. So like this. And then we can have this pull out of here automatically. And the only thing that should be able to go in here is the gems. Like, it's only going to hold gems, so we don't even have to filter the pipe. And this says it will hold like 32,000 gems. It even displays them on here. That is so cool. And it even has a built-in gem table that lets you upgrade your gems. That is awesome as well. You know what? Let's give this a shot. So the things we are going to need, you need leveling materials for all of the Apotheosis stuff, and gem dust to be able to level gems up. And so, like, if I wanted to upgrade this ballast gem, look at that. We can click this button and it automatically takes them and upgrades to the next tier. And then we can take this one and upgrade them to the next tier, and so on and so forth. We can't do, of course, taking it this far because we do need, like, Godforge pearls. But still, that is so much easier to level gems up. And you know what? I'm always happy for changes like this. This just changed the entire thing. This made it so much nicer. I just really wanted to show this off. Anyways, so let's get back to what's actually going to happen today. That's right. A quarry. What's going to be awesome is if you're new to the whole like large Modpack thing and you're really coming from like the base Cobblemon community, this is going to blow your mind. So to get started with this, the first thing we need is all the Modium nuggets in this pack for the builder, and we thankfully already have those. So we just need to make ourselves a builder, and that's like the first step in this major process that is setting up a quarry. Then we also need an RF tool shape card that we are then going to use to craft a shape card quarry that utilizes a shovel and a pickaxe. Now this is going to require redstone, so something like a lever can be used to turn it on and off. Next on the list though is power. How are we going to power this thing? Well, for that I have a couple of ideas in mind. I think what we could do is we could level up our furnaces that we have here to produce about 1,000 RF each, and then funnel about 1,000 RF into the builder. But we'd have to do this over a dimension. So we would have to have some way to send power cross-dimensionally and wirelessly. And there's a lot of cool mods that can actually do this. For example, we have a dimensional cell or advanced dimensional cell and a power card that you can use from RF Tools itself to send power wirelessly. Or if you want to go through a crafting rabbit hole, there is also the power mod, which we will be dabbling in later on down the road once we actually get our sort of Team Rocket facility up and running. But now I think one of the easiest for us to get our hands on is probably Flux Networks. And Flux Networks is going to provide some cross-dimensional power and even player charging power, probably in the easiest way. To be able to get started with this mod though, we need to understand this mechanic right here. So the ability for us to produce flux dust, we need to drop obsidian on top of a bedrock block with redstone in between. And we also really need to pay attention to the fact that this says left click on the obsidian, as a lot of mechanics that we deal with modded Minecraft and Minecraft in general are right clicks. But instead, this actually wants us to punch it. And now, if you did use the setup that I showed off to be able to just passively generate obsidian, you should be more than fine with all of the resources needed to make this stuff. Now, the hardest part is just getting down to bedrock. We've got to work our way all the way down our mines. And so here we are. So I'm going to place my obsidian right here. And what I'm going to do is try to throw all of this without picking it back up, which is a lot harder to do than you might think. There we go. And then just simply punch it. And when we do this, all of that gets turned into flux dust. Another thing we're going to need is some blaze powder for this, and I'm going to take the rest of my generalized ender predictions that we set up to be able to get our creative light and actually use it one more time. So let's take another apple from our apple farm over here, combine it, get ourselves some chorus fruit, and what I need to do with this chorus fruit is use it on our blaze spawner. See, blazes can be pretty hard to deal with, but if we just right click the chorus fruit on here, well, it removes the AI from the blazes. Yeah, I mean, so if you're anti-AI, there you go. It is a good way to get rid of the AI that the mobs have. Anyways, once they do spawn, they're not going to do anything to us. They're not going to move. They're not going to shoot at us, and we can just simply attack them, making this farm a little bit easier to manage for right now. This made it a whole lot easier for me to clear this out, sort of lower it down a little bit, block off the top, and make sure the only place they can spawn is inside this little area. Now, when it comes to the things we need from Flux Networks, the primary thing is just getting our base power network set up. So to do that, we need a Flux plug. That just requires a few Flux blocks and a few Flux cores, and we get ourselves a Flux plug. Now down here on our energy cube, what we can do is place the Flux plug onto this, and currently it's not going to tap in because we do have to define the side that it's connected to. And we want to set this to input output, or in this case, really just need to set it to output. Once we do that, this will connect once we set up our first network. So I'm going to call this main, as I always do, and we can make it green. This is going to be our main network. And because I'm playing in a single player world where I do plan on sharing the world, it's going to be set to public. And I just need to hit create. Once I do that, click the network selection and make sure to enable it. And once it's turned on, and we replace this down, we should see that it has now established a connection. Technically, no power is really going anywhere, so we won't see any power because it doesn't really have an internal power storage. Now, to send power from here, though, we are going to need a point. So a plug, you plug into a power source, and a point, you need to point your power into something that needs power. Well, or at least that's how I like to remember it. And out of everything, the points are a whole lot cheaper to make. So now what we can do is anywhere we need power, we can just simply put a point on it and select our network, and it is going to pull from that power storage. We don't need this coal generator here anymore. Instead, we can just simply use a point to power our storage. And so if we click the network and make sure to enable this, this is now going to start using power as soon as we pull things out. So if we pull things out here and put things back in, we should be able to go into our network statistics and see that a little bit of power was used in those operations over a given time. This, in my opinion, is one of the coolest features of the Flux Networks. You can actually monitor your entire power grid. And not only that, you can set priorities, which not many other power mods let you do. And now at this point, if you don't actually know what priorities mean, you need to get your priorities straight. But jokes aside, the priority system is pretty straightforward for most mods. If you are a lower number in line, you will go last. If you are a higher number in line, you will go first. And it works the exact same way as a queue. If you were queuing up for something, it works the same way in game. One of the other awesome features of Flux Networks that we need to take use of is its transfer limit ability. We can actually set transfer limits, meaning that we don't have to send all of our power to something. We can limit how much power is going to something. And that's something that we're going to take advantage of with our builder, because I believe this can accept quite a bit of power by default, but we don't really want to give it all of our power just yet. If we did that, none of our other machines would work. Okay, so now we've got power sorted, but now we need to figure out storage. For storage, what I'm thinking is we could use a dimensional chest, a way to teleport items cross-dimensionally and send them back here to our base. And making a dimensional chest, honestly, not too difficult here. It is mostly just redstone, iron, and ender pearls, all of which we have from our mob farm. So we need about 16 dimensional walls and 2 solid dimensional cores to be able to make 2 of these dimensional chests. And we should be able to place them down next to each other, just like this. And over here, we have frequencies. Now, if you're on a server, you probably don't want this set to public, but in my case, public is fine. Frequency set to 1 is going to work in tandem with each other, meaning that they are linked together. And this is great because this means that if we have this in one dimension and we have items going into it, we can do the managing of our items in this dimension, for example. And I'd say this is a pretty cheap ender chest, and it's honestly not too small of an inventory. It's like a double chest. So I think we're just about ready to set this up. And this is where our gameplay is going to completely change, as we are going to gain access to a lot of resources. So let's teleport into the mining dimension where you definitely want to set this up. The reason why you want to set it up in here is because you don't have to worry about chests breaking your builder, which can definitely happen. Let's just say that the RF Tools builder doesn't really like any fancy looter chests because those can't really be broken without sort of player intervention. So the builder would usually just stop working. So instead, what you can do is just place it in here where you don't have to worry about that. Also, this dimension contains a lot of different things, including the Nether, as there's an entire layer underground that is the Nether. So to set this up, let's go ahead and do F3 and G. And whenever we do this, this allows us to see our chunk bounds. And I kind of want to place this just sort of centered generally in the middle of a chunk area, just like this. What we're then going to need to do is place a lever on here. I do recommend placing that on the face. On top, placing one of our dimensional chests. And on the side, I'm going to place a point, make sure we select our network, and I'm going to set our power limit. Even though it does look like this is only using like 1,000, I really just want to limit this to exactly 1,000 RF per tick. And so now we need to set the bounds that our builder is going to quarry in. And this is where things can get kind of confusing. If you right click a shape quarry card, it's going to pull this information up where we have some dimensions, which this top one defines the actual dimension of the space that it is going to exist in quarry in. And then you have the offset. And the offset is interesting because it is based off of the builder's position and is actually centered inside of the center of your structure, and it is offset from there. And honestly, the best way to show this is by using this 5x5x5, leaving the offset set to 0 and setting this to hollow temporarily. Whenever we place this in and whenever we click this view button, you will be able to see that that 5x5 cube is generated with it directly in the center, with our actual builder in the center. And so if we were to click this question mark here and we were to raise this, I don't know, 5 blocks up by changing its Y offset, well, that's going to move it 5 blocks up based on this center block right there. And so you can kind of see this. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's the 5th block. So now, how do we figure out how tall to make this, and how do we maximize the height? Well, this is where we're going to need to know exactly where we're standing, and we can see in the top right, we're at Y level 253. We then need to take that Y level and add 65 to it, because that is the negative value that we could technically travel even further down in. And that should get a number of 318. Now, once we have this number, we need to divide that by 2. And the reason we need to divide it by 2 is, remember that the builder is centered on it, or the actual shape is centered on the builder. And so we need to take half of that value to be able to push this down to grass level. And that value that we're given is going to be 159, give or take. And so if we set our value at the top here to what we got originally, which was the 253, which is our current Y level, and then we take 64 or 65 and add it to that, we get 318. So we set this value to 318 to cover the entire Y distance. And then right here, we take half of that, and that is the value we need to put here, but in a negative. It should be 159, give or take. Like I said, this number is probably going to be subject to change. But the way we can test this is by clicking the support view. And at the moment, we don't see anything in the support view. But what if we raise this number by 1, or technically because it's a negative, we lower it and set it to 58? We should get closer to actually seeing the support go up 1 block. So you can see by doing the math, we had the math right originally, and now we just need to lower it back down to that value. So I will remove the support view, and then take this back to 159. And you can use these exact numbers if you want. They should work in your world so long as your Y value is the same that you started with. Now, I know this may sound confusing, but here's the formula. And if you wanted to copy this right here is the formula that you're going to use. To get your box size, you're going to take your Y level plus 65, and then for your offset, you're going to take the total of your Y value plus 65 and then divide that by 2. Now, back to our builder, there's still some more important things we want to do, as we want to set our size for our X and our Z coordinate. So this is going to be our X and this is going to be our Z coordinate. And we can just set this for right now to 256 just to cover a pretty large range. But I think this can go up to like 512, I think is its maximum size. Here we don't want to bother with any of our offsets, and we want to make sure this is set to solid and not hollow. And so now this is where the most important step comes into play. And that is what this slot right here does. And that slot, well, it's made for this thing, the filter card. Or I guess better called the filter module. Whenever we right click the filter module, nothing is going to pop up right away because we have to input some things, or we can, for example, take something and drag it in. I do recommend though, if you are going to be mining and looking specifically for ores like I am, to just simply add the tag yourself. And the tag you're going to want to type in is C:, and then we are going to type in ores. Just like this. And you can see it's the first one on the list. We can click that, double click it, and that is going to add everything in the game that is tagged with ores. Now, right now it only is showing like coals and stuff, but it will do anything in the game that is tagged as an ore block. And we have now created a whitelist. So this means that the only blocks that it will break when it goes to mine is going to be the ones in this list, which should contain all the ores. Some things to note that it will not mine. It will not mine all the modium. That's something to note. It also will not mine vibranium or any of those materials if they exist in this world. And that's because most breakers cannot actually mine those materials. Just keep that in mind. With that, we're just about ready to pull the lever. So 3, 2, 1, pull the lever. And when we do this, it's going to start looking in these individual chunks, and it is going to start mining out the resources in those chunks. And notice it's not pulling stone or anything like that, just simply the ores, as that's the only thing I want. Another thing that it is also doing is anytime it breaks an ore, it places a dirt in its place, which I think is a nice option and will help reduce lag for you. Now, once we have more power, we can make this even more powerful, as there is a Fortune Quarry card and also a Silk Quarry card that would allow you to get more bang for your buck. However, it is going to make the system a little bit slower because it does cost more power. But a way of getting around that is by using the machine infuser. You place the builder inside of here and infuse it up to 100% using quite a lot of dimensional shards to do this. And whenever you do that, your machine should cost less power, thus be able to run faster. Now back at the base, just placing down our dimensional chests, and notice all of the items are inside here. And I want to utilize a sophisticated storage barrel just because it's nice and compact, much like all of our other ones. But we have a lot of upgrade slots and utility here, meaning we can keep this nice and compact and fit in our base. And also later on down the road, we can tape this up and move it to wherever we need it for processing down the road. Now, to be able to pull items out of here into the barrel, I'm going to use an advanced hopper upgrade. And by default, it can be a little confusing when playing around with the hopper upgrade, and that's because it is based off of the position the barrel is currently looking and the way you placed it. So I do recommend taking a look at the sides. I'm going to just remove all of these for right now and set them all to off. And we need to look at the down face because that is the face that is touching the other machine. And we'll set this to pull. Whenever we do this, it's going to pull all of those items into itself. That is perfect. And honestly, it's pretty quick and it should be able to keep up. Well, at least with it running at its current rate. And then on top of that, just 2 stack upgrades. Like I said, this will make it so each slot holds about 16,000 of those items, which is quite a lot. Now back in the mining dimension, we can go ahead and turn this on and sort of let this run. And you can see it is on chunk 0 of 286. So there's a lot of time that this can be running for. And this is the current Y level that it is tracking down. So you can kind of keep an eye on its current progress. But the thing that we need to worry about now is how do we keep this running when we're not here? Well, one good way to solve this is by going up to your FTP chunks map and clicking on the claimed chunk area and just simply claiming the chunk that this currently resides in. The best way to do this is just make sure you're in the actual chunk, F3 and G to kind of see that chunk bound, and then click on the chunk map, and then make sure you claim it, and then shift right click or shift left click to claim that chunk. And so now this one chunk should be force loaded. Now, with us limiting our power, you will notice that it says not enough power. Disregard that warning. That is just because it is not running at its maximum efficiency. But now back at our base, we can start to see everything we're mining up, including draconium dust and also inferium essence for mystical agriculture, which is really going to come in handy later on. And look at that, even dimensional shards, which we can actually use to make our builder even better. And so while this is not the best solution for resource generation, it is the best solution early game to get you started for everything else. And at the end of the day, you really have to look at the big picture here. Yes, there's a lot of mods that need to be gone through and a lot of resources that need to be generated in packs like the All The Modpacks. And so to be able to get through all the mods, we're also going to need all of the mods, and we need to be utilizing them as best as we can. Now, just to make sure we're keeping up with our power, I do want to go ahead and create a netherite upgrade. We can just upgrade these directly. So I'm going to need a little bit of netherite, and I can kind of afford this now, and I don't have to worry about going out and going mining because we are actually producing it inside of our quarry. And with this upgrade onto our machines here, oh man, okay, so this should be now easily generating 1,000 RF per tick, maybe a little less because of this efficiency upgrade. And all this is doing is just really keeping our ponytail on its feet. And I wonder if this helps like fill this up quicker. Yeah, if we just have more firemons. So we have Litleo, and then we also have Slugma that I just thrown out here. The cool thing is, in reality, if we really start to run into a lava problem for our power generation, there are many ways, and I mean many ways, that we can get lava from the nether infinitely back here to the overworld. So now with our resource generation problem solved, I think it's time to level up our mons even more. Well, not exactly yet. We still have one other gym leader that we're going to have to take on before we can fully actually increase our levels some more. But being able to take this on with a black belt, I'm assuming that we're going to be going up against some fighting type mons. And so this might be a good time to potentially teach Gyarados a better flying type move. So I am going to teach Hurricane to Gyarados. And now that I have taught that move, we can get rid of Bite, for example, for right now, because of how easy it is to actually swap these moves out. And there we go. We now have Hurricane for Gyarados. I still find this absolutely hilarious. Like, flying type, no wings, a rocket, no arms, no legs. I love it. Now, in the process of doing this, I have heard from several of you in the comments, and I do love all of the things that you guys are teaching me. There's a lot about Pokemon that I never really cared for, as I was more or less a catch-em-all kind of player, and not necessarily a battle-em-all kind of player. And so I never really understood the difference between physical and special attacks. So I am slowly learning that, and it isn't like it's too much for me to understand. But certain mons do have certain characteristics and abilities, and also based on their nature, they do get special abilities as well. So for example, this guy right here is probably going to be more attuned to physical attacks because of its base attack. And if it was more on its special attack, then special attack abilities it would do a little bit better at. And so I'm slowly getting there, slowly understanding that physical types, which is this icon right here, is more what I should be going for and teaching as far as moves go, which I know I just taught it a special attack, but still, I think that this is going to help us hopefully in this fight. Slowly getting there, slowly understanding, but you know what? I will, at the end of the day, become the best. Because that's kind of what it's about, right? When you play the game, you've literally got to be the very best. Like no one ever was. Yeah. Now with our black belt crafted, it is time for us to take on Maylene. And this is our gym leader. So we have another gym that we are going to hopefully be able to conquer here. Okay. So I've placed this in. There they are. Oh boy. And let's hope that we have all of our mons in position. I think I'm going to swap Gyarados first We can also put Corvisquire up next because hopefully these are mostly fighting types that we're going to be up against. So without further ado, let's battle. Oh boy. Take a deep look into my eyes. Okay, perfect. All right. So I think we're good. Yeah, fighting types, I guessed it correctly. It says I won't hold back, nor will I. Enjoy that hurricane. Oh, yes. Okay, now I'm feeling good. We're the same level. That hurricane was probably... Oh, man, that is such a cool looking Lucario. Oh, the effects on the hands and stuff are so sick. I really want to get a Lucario so bad. Oh, my goodness. All right, there we go. One more. Ouch, we are taking a beating. Okay, and we're missing. It's because the accuracy on this is only 70%, so not the greatest in the world. But that's okay. We do have... There we go. When it does hit, it really hits. Roost would be kind of a nice one to also have for Gyarados to potentially recover. That was beautiful. I'm going to actually switch before we lose our Mon. We're going to switch over to Corvisquire. Ouch. Okay. But I think we can get that final pluck out before we take an L. Never mind. That was a bad play. Okay. Toxtricity. Have fun. Have fun. This is not always the best. And Lucario keeps healing, but that definitely dealt a powerful blow. Toxtricity is really, really good. I'm going to hit this one also with a shockwave. Ouch. And that is such a powerful move. Oh, but I'm wrecked. This is just how it is sometimes. We go through our party, and if I only had 3 Mons to pick from, I probably would have lost this battle. 100% would have lost this. So it only has a little bit left. We're going to outspeed him, and that is it. Oh my goodness. And I'll take that low kick. I think that's going to be a good physical type move that we could potentially use down the road. But there we go. Another gym battle done. 71 Poke Tokens. And a new move. I do think, though, we had some really bad luck with those hurricanes. I mean, we had like almost 2 or 3 in a row that we missed on a 70% chance to hit. Sometimes it is just RNG. But now this has put us in a position where we need to take on Gym Leader Wake. And this is not something that we're going to be able to do today, as I do not currently have a Nautilus shell, which is going to be required to summon him. However, we could get a random encounter that's not necessarily in our gym area. We would just have to keep an eye out on our trainer card. But as per tradition, if you lose in the game, you lose in real life. Anyways, I can't believe we got a statue for that. Wait, what? You know what? I think we actually can go ahead and do this. Look at this. We have our trainer right here. The arrow is pointing to it. Oh, we don't even have to worry about him. We'll fight him right next to the water. And we're going after Gym Leader Wake, which I assume is going to be water type Mons. Okay, so let's build our party just real quick. And I think what I want is maybe start with Toxtricity here. And we could potentially second, Grovyle. I think we're going to be good with that sort of build. But without further ado, let's battle. Oh, man. Another intense battle taking place. Wait. Oh, he started with Gyarados. Okay, Toxtricity, I need you to really use that shockwave, which, by the way, should never miss. Ooh, but he's got me on the speed. He's only level 27. Instant knockout. Toxtricity may actually wipe the whole team with shockwave. Oh, man. Oh, ooh, no. Nope. Yeah, that rock type move absolutely got me destroyed. Grovyle, I don't think is going to do too much better. 100% accuracy on Energy Ball. That does really well, though. And I am so excited to actually get to evolve Grovyle into Sceptile eventually. I don't know if you can tell by my excitement here. Okay, so we've got to figure this out. We could potentially Gyarados him, possibly to death. We'll see how this works, but Dragon's Rage could be useful, I think, here. Yeah, I mean, Gyarados is pretty chunky, and we may just have to whittle him down for right now. Oh, man. Yeah, he's probably also going to use an item, too. I almost guarantee it. I mean, we still have items we could use, too. Oh, Gyarados missed? Oh, no, he missed. Interesting. Yeah, there's our item, or berry. Yeah, it was restored using a berry. We may have it, though, right now. Oh, some of these battles are a lot harder than I remember them being in the game. And there we go. We completely annihilated that guy. Or did we? Let me know down in the comments. Is it bad? Is it... I really don't know. I don't know if I'm doing good, if I'm doing bad. I have no idea. My mons are so low level. We have so little options. It is what it is. Also, by the way, look who I just found. Wait, what are you doing over here? Okay, we have a Voltorb. I mean, I kind of want to catch the Voltorb if I can. It's a level, what, a 17? I'm so afraid, though, that... Oh, man. Usually in the game, these would just use self-destruct, and then that was it. So it's like potentially catching on first catch, or that's it. Like, that's usually how it went. So if I don't catch it, we probably won't get it. We caught it on the first go. Let's go. But there we go. That brought our level cap up to 31. And thankfully, our next battle, which we could potentially do next episode, will get us up to level 36 and allow for us to evolve most of our mons into their final forms. And so if that's something you're interested in, be sure to click that subscribe button if you haven't already, and give this video, guys, a huge thumbs up, especially if you learned something new, whether it was about the way you can transfer power or about that quarry, which is going to generate me a ton of resources moving forward. So guys, I look forward to seeing you all in the next one, and without further ado, it's time for me to thank the amazing supporter of today's episode. And that amazing thanks is going to go out to Big Man Lewis. Thank you so much for your amazing support and choosing to support me over on the Discord by becoming a Discord premium member and supporting my content in one of the best ways possible. And with that, I look forward to seeing you all in the next episode, and as always, thanks for watching.